Scoot back over towards me.
Look like a goth person.
Goth girl. It's a Goth Girl Jamie live.
And like, I should be on that
Let's
side.
talk about your emo. What? It's live. They can hear us.
Nuh-uh.
This? Yes.
Oh.
Welcome. We're all here. Jamie is Goth Girl tonight. She's not actually. She's wearing a green outfit, but for some reason we're trying a different section of the house, and the lighting's weird, so it looks like we're all dark, but all the lights are actually on. All right. There we go. Wait, this light's not hitting you. How's that?
Okay, I guess.
Goth Girl Jamie, emo stuff. She's a crazy teen. Her boyfriend broke up with her. Right?
He ate the stuff and died.
He did eat the stuff. That's right. So we did a podcast a long time ago about these movies, and they were a lot of fun. I'm even wearing my old shirt, Stay Weird, with the owl creature with antlers. From those old days. Y'all remember that? Because I wore this shirt in every stream.
Yes. Yeah. You're famous with that shirt on.
You even painted this.
I did.
She drew this t-shirt in a picture.
So he'll have it forever when the shirt dies.
So we're going to cover some of the classics that we did. This lighting in here is really weird. I don't know what to do. Oh, well.
And turn up these ones?
Yeah, see if you can turn those up more. I'm trying to get some more lights in here. It's too dark. We look like emo teens. We're not emo teens, I promise. And we're going to talk about Ghoulies, Society, Parents. That's a little better. Nightbreed. I've even got, in honor of, I've got the Illuminati card game out. So I'm going to be flashing some of these. Help you guys know what's going on as we work through these classics. Now, some of these are B movies with a message. So you have to scoot over a little closer. Yep. Get in the picture. These are B movies with a message. They're crazy, they're goofy, and if you watch them, then you know that they are relevant in some way to things that we experience. The most revealing was actually the David Cronenberg movie that I had not seen. I tried it twice and fell asleep, not because it's a bad movie, it's just always turn David Cronenberg on at like 1 a.m. and I fall asleep.
That'll give you nightmares.
Videodrome, right? But Scanners was full of stuff I didn't expect. It was pretty revelatory. We're going to be talking about all that tonight. So this first one is one that Jamie recommended many years ago, and it's called Society. Jamie, start us off with Society.
Yeah, this one is about coming up in Beverly Hills and what it's like to be part of the elite. And it starts out with a dollar store Charlie Sheen. I call him.
He is a knockoff Charlie Sheen.
Or John Stamos. He's like Charlie
Stamos.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he's traumatized. A lot of the scary movies have those la-las.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It has the scary movie la-las.
It does have the children's la-la choir.
Yeah. Yep.
The horror children's la-la choir. La. When we get married, can we have the horror children's la-la choir at our marriage?
Of course we can. So this one is about...
Well, does that mean that in our goth wedding,
yes, everything's going to be black.
Me marrying you will be a horror story, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
Ha.
It's about elite incest.
Yes.
And...
Not to use too many.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Be careful. Use our code words. It's our code words against the naughty words.
Right. So this kid, Charlie Stamos, knockoff kid, is growing up in a, like, Beverly Hills 90210, basically.
It is 902, very 90210.
Yeah. And he goes to Beverly Hills Academy, and he has this therapist that his parents make him go to. And of course, not every time, but a lot of times when there's a therapist in a movie, they're going to have masks on the wall, right? Like some kind of tribal mask.
Yeah,
or...
they oftentimes do this. The psychiatrist in Nightbreed, who is the Dave McGowan serial killer programmer guy, he has the mask on the wall. Domino in Eyes Wide Shut has masks on the wall because we're all wearing masks in society. This is existentialism. Sartre says that we all wear masks in society, right? And this is about society being the upper caste. Why masks? Well, because you have a public face to everybody, to let everybody know how nice and virtuous you are, and then secretly in your Illuminate Jeff Stein Effrey cult, you engage in crazy creeper things.
That's right, like the Eyes Wide Shut masks, or they could also be different altars. Masks can be triggering to people, so a lot of meanings in masks. He is seeing mutated people. He's seeing like spiritual.
He starts to see basically what's demonic.
Yeah, he sees demons, and then he realizes that his sister. Okay, so his Beverly Hills 90210 sister is having a coming out party, right? Like a cotillion. What are those called?
It's where you're presented to be part of society.
Yeah.
It's a coming out party, right?
And he finds out that his sister's initiation is actually this coming out, and she has to have sex with, what can I say?
Mate, coitus. Coitus mating time.
She has to have
springtime,
like,
birds and bees.
Birds and bees time with everybody in the town, basically, or in the society, in the club.
In the elite, right.
Yeah.
So the sister, part of her initiation, she has to sleep with all the elite.
Yeah, including her parents.
Exactly, which is gross.
Yeah.
And it hints at the generational creeperness, which, guess what? It all is true. This is kind of like a B-movie bad version of Eyes Wide Shut, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fun B
with
movie,
more,
but yeah.
Like goo.
A lot of
Lots
John
of goo.
Carpenter level goo.
This is probably one of the top 3 B movies with a message, we call them.
Keep talking.
And including The Blob and The Stuff. I think Society is a really yucky B movie that's
Let's throw that
fun to
Hollywood
do.
card down on this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have to follow society's rules, and you have to take drugs to cope.
Yeah, all the elite are they on pills? What were they doing? I forgot.
Just like cocaine and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's doing coke.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
It is the 80s too, so
there's this like club, even down to the high school kids are in like the mini version of this. And it's run like a secret society. They have a hive mind.
That's an interesting point. Yes, they do. Right.
You noticed that in the parents' bedroom there was some surrealist art.
Yes, remember the 70s or the 70s Rothschild parties where they had the ball with all the surrealist art where they're wearing like bird cages over their
Audrey
head.
Hepburn had a bird cage on her head.
Yeah, and they're wearing deer antlers,
Yeah.
and it's all surreal. Baby dolls.
Yeah.
You know, so you see that same artwork on the parents' bedroom wall, which is surrealist, and you've got like the Venus de Milo that's like a zombie Venus de Milo. It's crazy. Yeah.
Even the hospital workers are in on it, so they have their own ambulance.
They run they own everybody. You
Beverly.
can't get away. You can't go to the cops because
Yeah.
everybody's owned.
Let's see.
They're part of the club.
There's this like big lady drag queen character. I don't know how she comes in. She's part of
She's the mom of the girl that seduces him.
She's in the elite, but she is not, like, she ends up helping to get away.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting character. What else? Then we find out that the kid was adopted. Remember?
Right. He's not blood. So
Yeah.
there's a bloodline, power to the bloodline stuff here.
And they make a point you have to be born into society. You can't, there's nothing you can do to get into it if you weren't born into it.
Right.
There are government connections. The parents, the rich society parents have government connections. Remember that?
Yes.
They talk about eugenics. They fake deaths and eat people. And what did you say, Lady Gaga cake?
Yeah, I remember the cake where Will Ferrell and Marina Abramovic were cutting up the human cakes, and then there was another such situation where Lady Gaga was laid out with Marina Abramovic. You like my name for her? Mm-hmm. Cutting up. That way that it's not flagged by the algorithms, because actually one of the videos that we did on Marina Abramovic got flagged and put into adult level. It's not adult level, but 18. It'll be 18 to listen to our Rosemary's Baby. We did a Rosemary's Baby video that came out good a long time ago, and it got a lot of views, and then it got put into whatever.
Oh yeah. What else about society? Oh, there's a lot of goop. So please don't watch this one with your kids. It's a grown-up movie because it gets really.
A lot of elite goop. A lot of the elite essence and goop everywhere.
The Eyes Wide Shut type orgy scene. Can you say that?
No, don't say those words. The party scene.
Group birds and bees.
The after party.
Okay. It gets really goopy.
The Hillary party.
It gets Gwyneth Paltrow level goopy.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
They talk about... They're the lineage of like famous people like Julius Caesar and
oh, that's right. They think that the elite, because a lot of them do believe in reincarnation, they think that they're reincarnated elite from yesteryear, right? Which is everybody always makes the joke, which is a true criticism of reincarnation, which is that nobody ever looks into their past and regresses to find out that they were a cricket.
Oh yeah, they're always like
They're
Cleopatra.
They're not a peasant. They're always some. Oh, I was Pharaoh, bro.
Yeah.
I was Pharaoh. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of hunting puns in the movie, like hunting people.
Oh, because they're predators. Right.
Yeah.
This is another thing, right? We got that movie out now, The Hunt, and then remember the old, the one with Rutger Hauer and Ice-T, Surviving the Game. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where you're hunting people. Yeah.
And then all throughout the movie, he's finding somebody's planting voodoo things on him.
Yeah. What was the meaning of this?
But it was just his friend like playing tricks or something. It wasn't part of the. So
the voodooistas.
Yeah. Is that really in there?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Crazy. Do we have the quarantine one in there?
We have the Pepe comes
Yeah.
up in the Illuminate. Pepe. Go ahead. Keep going.
What does this say for you? Pulls the jock inside?
Oh, he pulls the jock inside out so that he becomes a butthead. Because remember, the most famous scene is the talking butt.
Did
the butt.
anybody
And so he
watch
turns the
these?
jock into a butt head.
Did anybody watch these ahead of time? Can we read the chat message?
Let's see what the chatters say. Congrats to you, Jay. For what? Dude, awesome movie. Ice-T, Gary Busey. Oh, it's not. I thought it was Rutger Hauer. Is it Gary Busey? Yeah, Surviving the Game. The chat's always a little bit behind, so we'll have to see if they've seen it. I'm sure somebody playing, because people recommend this all the time, even though we've done it in the past. But keep going.
Okay.
We'll see what they say because it's behind.
Yeah, he has to be the hero, and he pulls his enemy from the inside out. It's pretty gross.
Right. And so what's the message of? Is that the end of it? The message is that the elite, it's kind of class warfare a little bit, but the message is that the elite are parasitic and they believe themselves to be, the ancient gods. They reincarnate ancient gods and mystical warriors and Alexander the Great. It's like, this is the same scam that Sean Connery runs in The Man Who Would Be King. Mm-hmm. The Masonic scam where he convinces all the villagers that he is Alexander the Great reincarnated. Mm-hmm. It's just a scam. But anyway, so and the reason you can't get away is because they own the cops and everything. And if you try to go to the cops or whatever, like they can even arrange fake news scenarios, right? So there's a situation where the car wreck happens and all the police are like, there was no car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is society.
Society is fun. I
not?
didn't notice anything new this time except maybe a few minor things. The surrealist art, which could potentially, hint at the Rothschild balls. I mean, it's possible the director knew about that kind of stuff because that was a curious component that was really prevalent that I didn't see before. But as you can see here, you see even in the poster, they're like kind of ripping the mask off, right?
Yeah.
And it's about the daughter being initiated into that level of society, and the brother, because he's not part of the bloodline, it just never clicks with him. He doesn't get it. He thinks that there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, he's not part of the Borg mass.
Oh, it's a Borg mine, and they also talk about it like they're from another planet, another time. Except he's like, we're not. He's like, are you aliens? And they're like, oh no, we're not aliens. We're from your planet. So it's demonic.
Yeah. So there's society. I'll let you take Phantasm since you wrote that.
All right. Phantasm begins with boobicide, with Teats murdering right away. You see Teats murdering. So the spirits from this other dimension.
Boobicide.
What does it say? Yes, boobicide right there.
Feminist.
Angus Scrim. If you are familiar with Phantasm, everybody knows who Angus Scrim. Well, Angus Scrim may look like a scraggly old man, but he's actually very well teated, isn't he? Because that's him.
Yeah.
He is the Phantasm, you see, that is seducing this idiot at the beginning of the film.
He looks like this guy.
That's what Angus Scrim looks like, yes. Correct. We don't yet know who Angus Scrim is, except he's a giant with a lot of power. Reminds you of the giant in Twin Peaks. He has superhuman strength. Now, the suicide in the graveyard, it's actually murder, but it's said to be a suicide. And then we see the funeral the next day of the young brother, the squeaky-voiced brother, who is angry that his older brother his friend got murdered, but was labeled a suicide. So he's ready to leave town, right? And the young brother is upset at this. He's like, I can't believe this. My brother's leaving town. He has a very odd relationship with his older brother because he follows him all around town, creeping on him. And the older brother's just trying to find chicks, trying to touch butts. The younger brother does not understand this. Why are you chasing all these thoughts and hoes and touching butts?
You know who else has a weird brother relationship?
Who?
That vampire movie with the sexy sax man.
Yes, Corey Haim and Jason Patrick.
Yes. If you watch that movie and watch how the brothers interact with each other, it's really bizarre. It's really, really weird.
I think the young kid in this is at the tween age where he doesn't understand chasing butts. He doesn't understand birds and bees. So he doesn't understand why his brother's doing this. And his brother's like, this town sucks. I'm ready to get out of here. And to be fair, it is not the most enjoyable small town. There's a outhouse-sized bar is all this town has, right? Remember?
Yeah.
It's literally the size of an outhouse. And then one giant funeral home. Like the biggest building in this town is a funeral home.
Yeah.
It's a giant white funeral home.
Yeah.
And so the young brother because he creeps around so much, because he's a peeper and a creeper, he goes and spies on why is he spying on the funeral? It doesn't make any sense. But he sees Angus Scrim do some weird things with the body, throwing this whole coffin into the back of a hearse, which is strange because it took 6 people to carry the body. So the brother goes and tries to tell the older brother all of what's going on. Of course, the older brother doesn't believe him. And he's dead set on leaving. And then we have this hilarious sequence where the younger brother is like kicking rocks and squeaking about how his brother's leaving him.
He did have a
abandoning him.
squeaky scream.
I know.
Can you do
He's
that?
got the tween
The puberty
scream,
That was funny.
squelch. Let's see. The brother. So he goes to see the psychic. Now this is the weird part of this movie. Now, this whole movie's weird, but what I noticed this time around was that this movie is about frequencies and different dimensions existing at different frequencies. So it's literally like the David Icke worldview where we have 5 sense reality. You know, mate, we only see 5% of this visual spectrum, mate. Outside of that's the Cheetah Uri, and we don't bloody know. We don't bloody know. Right?
Yeah, that was really good.
That was a decent David Icke. I think actually are the lizard people in the Illuminati card deck. I think they are. Yeah. So anyway, we don't bloody know what's outside of the frequencies, but Phantasm is going to tell you what's outside of the David Icke 5% frequencies. But before we get to that, so he goes to the psychic, and the psychic girl, the teenager, sets him up with her grandmother, the psychic, and she's like, "Put your hand in the box." And I'm like, "This is from Dune.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Gom Jabbar. Put your hand in the box. You will feel pain. You will feel pain. The pain!" Right? The exact same sequence. They just got this from Dune. I can't believe I never noticed this. And she even says, she doesn't say fear is the mind killer, but she says something like fear is the mind killer. Shout out Truth Stream Media. Go watch their Fear is the Mind Killer video that they just put out. And so he learns that he's going to face his big fear, right? So he's got to face his fears. And of course, that's what's going to happen. I don't know what this note means. Cuda. The brother drives a Cuda.
Barracuda?
And to get cooter. He does. Well, I mean, he looks like Hasselhoff in Knight Rider.
Yeah.
His car looks like Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He looks like Han Solo too sometimes. Like he's dressed up like Han Solo. The Gom Jabbar, totally borrowed. Let's see. What is this? Fear is the mind killer with the Spurg brother. Wait, not getting with Spurg brother. He's a Spurg. That's it. The young brother's a Spurg brother. He's a Spurg brother.
Yeah.
I can't read my notes there. Something about Spurg brother. What is it? The Tit Slayer. Yeah, that's when the Angus Scrim is the Tit Slayer. The Tit Slayer seduces the brother. That's what happens, right? So the younger brother's trying to warn him that you're being seduced. That's when you get the puberty squelch scene, which is hilarious. It's the driest tween puberty squelch you've ever heard in your life. And he runs past him as in the graveyard, remember? When he's trying to get away in the graveyard, he's like, It's like a pterodactyl teen.
Some of these tweens, you want them to die, and some of they're so like,
This kid is pretty annoying, right? So, but what I didn't notice is that the bald, ponytailed ice cream truck driver, there's a key sequence. I can't believe I missed this. He comes to the brother's house because they play in a band together, and they start playing a song, and he pulls out the tuning fork.
oh yeah.
And he does the tuning fork.
Yeah.
That is about frequencies, vibrations, 5 sense reality, mate. Vibrations. Chitauri. And then later when they find the portal, what is it? It's a tuning fork. It's the two poles and it vibrates. I can't believe I never noticed that until this last time. That's why this is a good B movie. And by the way, shout out to Hesher at ACR 21st Century Wire, because Boiler Room Hesher, I didn't watch Phantasm. I thought it was, what is this? And it was the first time I met Hesher when I saw that man in person with his gigantic beard and motorcycle jacket, metal jacket. And he had on a Phantasm t-shirt. And I was like, what is Phantasm? How have I not watched this B movie? He's like, dude, you need to watch Phantasm. And he was right. So, where are we at? Oh, the brother has some great lines. Shit. Remember that one?
Yeah.
There's this ball. There's a lot of Dune in this movie. That's not the only Dune. I think this ball itself floating around is very Dune-ish. The planet that they go to is like Dune.
I thought it was another dimension.
It is, but it's a planet. It's
okay.
it's like Mars or like a desert planet, right?
Yeah.
And they have Jawas. Jawas. Mm-hmm. There's little Jawas running around. So there's Star Wars imagery and elements in this. I don't know what I put this ball drills into your head and it squirts out like copious amounts, more blood than it could even be in your head. But still fun.
Do you know what my favorite part about Phantasm?
No, what?
The mustard blood of the
Oh, right.
guy.
Angus Scrimm has mustard blood.
Yeah.
And his finger comes to life and turns into a bug.
Yeah.
Remember that? His finger just somehow mutates into a bug. I think so Angus Scrimm also has a Freddy element.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Freddy because he can come to you in your dreams and he, like a phantasm, can appear to you as your greatest fear. Mm-hmm. So if you're afraid of spiders or bugs or whatever, he appears to you as your fears, I think. So there's a Freddy element here. The Jawas.
Or breast implants.
The Teat Killer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Teat Slayer. Frequencies, dimensions, portals. That's what this is about. The elite here in this town are taking over this town by taking bodies from the morgue that are not actually dead, I think was what we're supposed to think. They're stealing people, shrinking them down. They're turning them into Jawas, basically.
Yeah.
So they're genetically modifying people to be Jawas to take them to be slaves in the other dimension, mm-hmm. which is the portal is at the morgue, the big funeral home. A great idea for a B movie, right? So the Jawa slave planet, the puberty squelch, the tuning portals, the Teat Slayer. I think we got all the
Mustard blood.
The mustard blood.
Yeah.
Point of it is of course, there is, by the way, multiple sequels. I've seen Phantasm 2, which is also a lot of fun, where the ponytailed dude and I think the kid, they actually just go off to hunt Angus Scrimm himself. So Phantasm 2 is fun. I've still not seen Phantasm 3, or I think there's a 4 even. But a lot of fun, definitely worth checking out. Why? Well, what are the demonic elite up to? They are genetically modifying humans to be slaves, mm-hmm. to be goblin slaves, Eloi Morlock type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
Nightbreed.
Now this is Clive Barker, and I always get Clive Barker and Wes Craven mixed up. One of the two is actually into overt occultism. I think it's Clive, but I'm not positive.
I
anyway.
always get Clive Barker and Videodrome guy mixed.
Cronenberg.
Okay,
No.
Clive Barker is an author also?
Like horror stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Stephen King's type of dude.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is called Nightbreed. Clive Barker. What does this say? Dr. what?
The guy's name is Dr. Pete Decker, who's the psychiatrist,
yes.
who is the most important character here. Keep going. Don't worry about it.
So, starts out this guy has been going to his therapist, another therapist with masks on the wall. Didn't he have it? Mask in his office, yeah.
Right. Well, we noticed that because this is common, right? I mean,
yeah.
And that's because, existentialism, yeah.
And he keeps dreaming of a place where monsters live called Midian, a dream city. He is instructed to just take pills about it. And what does this say? I can't read your...
He dissociates.
Okay.
Right. Uh-huh. So his psychiatrist, who we are suspicious of this guy, right? His psychiatrist is giving him the drug treatment. You just take your drugs, take your pills. And then when he's on these pills, he leaves and immediately dissociates and has this wild experience where he starts seeing things, and he sees his body and he sees himself walking around, and there's a fire, and he runs into demons and all this kind of stuff. And we find out that he ends up at the hospital, and he realizes that he's been given a super high dose of LSD. So his psychiatrist is the one who's doing this. Mm-hmm. And we've already seen a few murders that were happening. Well, it turns out the psychiatrist, as you could imagine, is the actual serial killer. But he's blaming and framing his patients because he knows all their weaknesses, right, for what he's doing. So he knows how to frame them and he can mind control them through giving them like the high powered drugs and whatnot. So this immediately brought to mind the Dave McGowan Program to Kill stuff. That's literally what's going on here. And he's blaming it on his patients, which Dave, I think, documents many instances where that was probably the case with these so-called, not to say the serial killers weren't wacko, they were, but there's more going on, people being tested on this kind of stuff, which I think Dave's correct on.
Crazy guy has son, it's the demons?
He sees the demons.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure what I meant there. So then this is the other fascinating point. The psychiatrist, when he goes to the hospital, he tells the people at the hospital, he says, "Let me talk to these crazy people," because there's a schizophrenic guy at the hospital who's with his patient. He says, "Let me talk to both of them," because he said, "I know the trigger words that can help bring to mind what's going on with these people."
Someone says Jacob's Ladder. Yeah, we'll do that, but that's not really a B movie. But yeah,
right. No,
we
that
do
was
have
a
to
that
do
was a
that.
major theatrical release, Adrian Lynn.
But yeah,
movie,
we can do that.
It's
like,
been,
with a
and that's
voodoo.
about MK Ultra in Vietnam. Yeah, that's been on the list to do for us. Probably Phoenix program, but yeah.
Yeah. So what else? So this guy, the protagonist, what is this? God is a what?
God is an astronaut. The beast feeds. So when he gets to when he gets to the city, he's told by the schizophrenic guy how to get to the city where the dead are. And so he drives out in the middle of nowhere, way out, I don't know, Washington, where are they? Canada, somewhere?
Canada, yeah.
So he drives out in the middle of nowhere, and there's a giant Solomonic ritual magic sigil, right, at Midian. It's on the doorway of the city, which, again, it calls to mind sigil magic, binding, loosing, and essentially this is a portal to the underworld, basically.
Yeah.
So it's this giant graveyard that's a city, okay? And then there's an entrance where you go down into Midian. I should have looked that up. You might know what, off the top of your head, what Midian signifies. It might signify something in mythology. I don't know. But
Isn't that something in the Bible, like a tribe?
well, yeah, but in this, I don't think that has any reference to this.
Oh.
But I'm sure Clive Barker got that from something, though, for a reason. Anyway, so he gets down there and he meets up with some of the dead after being chased and getting bitten. Which was all by design. We learned that they were trying to bring him there to initiate him into their cult. So it turns out there's a god of this city, and his name's Baphomet. And Baphomet has his own little cult where he brings in people who are chosen, who are elite. There's a Baphomet priest who
Who've
runs...
been called there by their dreams.
Right. So
Right.
they call the crazies there by their dreams.
So...
But hold on. But what was neat is that... God comes up and the creatures say God is a demon. Or no, wait, not God. They say God is an astronaut, and it turns out Oz is just over the rainbow, but by which they mean their city. So Oz is real. That calls to mind Crowleyan stuff, because Crowley was always referencing Oz, right? Over the rainbow, Alice in Wonderland, so there's a lot of mind control stuff in this film because of the LSD, the dissociation, the altars, the masks, all that symbology is here with the ritual magic. And I think ritual magic a lot of times ties into mind control as well. It's just a way to get people into groups where you can do mind control, basically. So he ends up in the city of the dead, and he's framed as a serial killer, so he becomes a buddy of the dead, and he's ready to fight on behalf of the dead against the living.
What's weird about this story is there's a lot of confabulation going on because the therapist turns out to be the bad guy.
Right.
And the monsters are the good guys or the persecuted ones.
And they have babies. They have gooey, ugly babies.
Yeah, so the monsters and the demons are the innocent, disenfranchised group, but the evil psychiatrist is trying to get rid of them.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
But, so someone watching this movie would be like, oh, that's a twist that a psychiatrist is evil, but that can be true.
Well, they reference
Also.
Gnostic themes in this as well, and that's because in the Gnostic scheme, it's reversed, right?
Yeah.
God is the devil. The devil is an enlightener, right? Because he goes against Jehovah,
Yeah.
the evil god, right?
So in the movie, the monsters are trying to convince, what was his name? Do you remember?
The main guy?
Yes.
No, I don't remember. He's just another mulleted generic guy.
Boone. Boone is his name. Yeah. So they're telling them that people envy the monster's supernatural powers, and that's why they have to hide away. Because people don't understand. Like X-Men. Right?
They are. It's like X-Men. It's
Yeah.
another. Oh, if you're weird and creepy and have mental problems, it's because you're more advanced in terms of evolution and you're beyond everybody.
And this is why we're not safe coming out, the monsters say, because people just don't understand
They
us.
can't handle
Yeah.
us being different.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Ooh.
Baphomet, the baptizer, they call him.
Right.
He's the one that like got every ghoulie together and made
Started his
Midian.
cult.
Yeah.
Right.
And made it safe.
And they say he's the true God.
yeah.
It's Crowleyan, right? Because Crowley said like the real God is the hidden silent God behind the religion's gods.
And the psychiatrist, he is the actual serial killer, killing people that he thinks are going to have Nightbreed babies.
Oh, that's right. He wants to get rid of people who are gifted.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, if you've got
Yeah.
your psychic powers or your, that was kind of remember that was the theme of Glass. Remember?
Yeah.
Because the people who have the powers, like Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis, they're at the end. Spoiler alert: they're targeted by this secret special ops team that comes and kills them.
And like X-Men too.
So we have the Illuminate theme of Hidden City. Interesting. Hidden City.
Oh, good one.
Yep. And Necronomicon, right?
Yeah.
Because you invoke through the ritual magic to get to this place, and this is the same place we find out that Druids knew about, right? City of the Dead. There was one other thing I wanted to say about this. Go ahead. I'll think of
Well,
it.
a funny thing, because this is a funny B movie. You know, it's kind of actually.
By the way, if you would, please press like and share. We're having a lot of fun under this quarantine time. What's better than B movies during a quarantine? Hope you're enjoying this. I'm with my beautiful lover. No one says a lover in high school, right?
No.
What was that in? Oh, it was in Twin Peaks,
Yeah.
right? Because Leland says, "Who's your lover?" Did you get that from a lover? And the mom says, "Leland, no one says lover in high school."
yeah.
Anyway,
Funny thing
Go ahead.
about this movie is like, why are the local police so heavily armed? In the scene where they have to go storm Midian, the monster Nightbreed town, they have like bazookas and all of this explosives and stuff. It's so funny.
yeah, some local police station has like the National Guard armory at their disposal.
Yeah.
Just like bazookas and
And then
hand grenades.
Boone has a girlfriend who.
Oh man, she's so ugly, dude.
Remember that?
She's like the most just. Ugh. And she has a band.
It was her hair mostly. That was the bad part. That was bad B movie hair.
Okay.
Yeah. She has to. There's a scene where they're making out, and he turns into his vampire look with the scars and all
Yeah, I
stuff on
remember
his face.
that, right.
And she has to like get past that and find it sexy, and that's something that we find also in like movies like Twilight, where the girl has to accept his dark side and find the demonic to be sexy.
Well, you have to integrate the shade. You've got to integrate your shade side.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. They come and attack the demons. They blow them up. They're not cute. This one, I don't know, like, the creatures are unsettling, and I kind of find it hard to watch. Like, have you ever seen that stupid sci-fi show?
Well, they look like tards.
They look like...
They look retardo.
Have you ever seen Farscape?
I mean, well, my buddy was the artist on
Oh.
Farscape, but I've not watched the show.
Really? I hate Farscape. And I hate
Shout out
all-
to Tommy. That was his first job drawing Farscape.
I hate the creatures on Farscape, and the creatures in Nightbreed reminded me of Farscape.
They
so
are very Farscape, yeah.
I didn't like it.
That one guy who's that one demon creature, the picture that I did of Tristan yesterday. He looks,
Oh, yeah.
I made Tristan look like that guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Then the monsters come back and they beat the humans, the local militia,
American Medical Association.
the bigots who don't like. Oh, good one.
The doctor is part of the
Yep.
American Psychiatric Association.
The bigots who beat up the demons. Baphomet makes Boone into a guy named Cabal.
Ah, Cabal. Ah.
Yeah, Cabal.
Ah, Cabal. Ah.
Or a cabal of men. Right.
But I think it
But
means
Kabbalah,
Kabbalah.
yeah. Let's see what else. There's a tag-along priest that kind of doesn't.
Goths.
Oh yeah.
Keep going.
It doesn't
Here's the Goths.
make a lot of sense in the story, but
Goth Jamie. I'm throwing that card
the
down for
priest
you.
that follows them underground at one point, he comes into contact with the real God.
Oh, there's a priest. That's right. And the
Mm-hmm.
priest is we don't know why. He's like, I must go down there. I must
Mm-hmm.
see what's down there. And then he finds out that the real God is Baphomet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See, someone agrees with me about Farscape.
What do they say?
Why are the creatures so gross?
Shout out to Tommy Patterson. He was the artist on Farscape for several episodes of the comic book
Yeah.
Farscape. And then Tommy was the artist for Game of Thrones for the entire very, very popular graphic novel series. Shout out to my boy, Tommy P. Go ahead.
The priest gets his face burned off by Baphomet and turns into a Nightbreed.
What does the priest become?
Just a guy with a big forehead.
Okay.
Weird looking guy.
Okay.
The girlfriend, she can't go live with Boone or Cabal because she is a living person and only the dead and the demons can live together.
She's part of the living.
So she's like, turn me. And he's like, no, you're a human. And so she just like stabs herself. And he has to go resurrect her so they can be demons together and live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that romantic?
Why? It's almost like this has been unleashed on America.
Yeah.
Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Nightbreed has been unleashed on America. And who does the soundtrack? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman does the soundtrack to Nightbreed.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
And Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Yeah. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Ooh.
What is this?
Don't you go. Won't you stay with me one more day? Where?
Year 2.
Chosen to build a new city. The girlfriend joins the undead.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
So Nightbreed, Goofy. We forgot the Boomer bar mom. Remember her? The Boomer bar thought.
In Nightbreed?
Yeah.
No.
The chunky woman at the bar who was trying to get laid.
I don't remember.
At the bar.
Okay, I don't remember.
We were laughing at how cringy her game was. She was like, maybe I'm gonna get lucky tonight with one of these boys.
Oh, yeah. All right, scanners.
No, we want to save scanners for last because this is the
yeah?
one that's the most revelatory. So what's next?
We got Ghoulies, the stuff. Parents.
Let's do Ghoulies. Ghoulies
Okay.
is fun.
All right. Ghoulies is really good.
No, it's not.
I mean, as a bad B movie. It's a good,
You like the
it's a good
Ghoulies.
bad
You just
movie.
like those Ghoulies.
Actually, I like the Ghoulies better than the characters in Nightbreed and Farscape.
Bless her, they're fun.
Yeah.
They're more fun. Ghoulies is so over the, so Ghoulies is trying to capitalize on Gremlins and Jim Henson stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time. It's
Yeah.
like let's because there was a lot of just like you may not know this, but there's like 30 bad ETs. I mean, Macamee is one, but there's Nookie.
Oh yeah, Nookie.
Nookie
Miko.
and Miko. There's a slew actually. You can go look it up of people trying to capitalize on ETs. Excuse me. There's also a slew of like critters, right? That capitalizing on the Gremlins phenomenon. But Ghoulies is even worse than Critters. Critters is also okay. It's an entertaining ripoff of.
Critters was one of my favorites when I was like 8 years old or something.
I have to be honest. When I was like 7. I wasn't scared of gremlins, but critters scared me.
Really?
Yeah.
Critters scare me too.
Yeah. I don't know why, but something about critters were creepy. And the little cat's eye, the little gnome and cat's eye.
Yeah.
The Stephen King cat's eye.
I didn't like that either.
Anyway. Did it all for the nookie, man. Put the nookie down. Put the nookie down. Put the nookie down.
I am not you. You.
Is that 6th day?
You're not me. I am me.
You're not me. I'm me.
That's it.
Yeah, 6th day. Anyway. What were we talking about?
Ghoulies.
All right, so Ghoulies is about ritual magic, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Which they do real rituals, real Kabbalah
Sort of.
rituals.
Sort of.
in it.
Yeah,
I
kind
mean,
of.
the script and the sigils and all
Yes,
that.
it does have some quote real aspects to it.
Yeah.
So what's the plot here?
Starts off with a satanic ritual. And
In the past, at some point.
yeah, the prologue to the movie
Right.
is a satanic ritual in a mansion. Go figure. Dude is trying to do a child sacrifice. And the mom is like, no, you can't hurt him. And
Yeah. So the mom stands up to the dad, who's the Magus, and
Uh-huh.
the dad kills the mom, and then something stops the dad, right, from killing the baby.
she put a spell on so you can't hurt the baby.
That's right.
And
Okay.
then, what's his name? Jack Nance.
Yes.
Steps up.
Oh, Pete from Twin Peaks shows up, and he's also the caretaker.
You like my Pete? Jack Nance? Twin Peaks? Eraserhead? Jack Nance is the star of Eraserhead.
He takes the baby and raises it. And then when the baby grows up, he inherits the property of the evil sorcerer guy, right? And he moves in with his girlfriend and start to find some creepy things going on in the house. They find an occult library. They actually mention the book of Bremelin the Mage.
Yes, they mentioned some actual things.
He-
They're fake things, but they're actual fake things.
Yeah, the real magic stuff. He does a Kabbalah ritual.
Yod
He
Hey,
actually
so he
mentioned
does
the Yod
the
Hey.
name of God,
Yeah.
right?
He calls on a demon Surgat. I forgot to look that up. I was gonna Google that. Maybe
That's
you
probably
can-
in the Keys of Solomon.
Maybe
yeah.
somebody in the chat could see what
We know Paimon.
Surgat is, and Paimon he mentions in
Which,
one
if you've seen
ritual.
Hereditary, we know about Paimon.
or Payman. How do you say that? Paimon.
Paimon.
Astaroth.
We know about
he calls
Astaroth,
on. That's
yeah.
a real demon.
Yeah. Well, actually,
in
Astaroth
magic.
is. Well, no, hold on. Astaroth is mentioned in the Old Testament because they worship the Asherah, the Astaroth. I don't know where Paimon originates from. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, the Keys of Solomon is not a real. It's like a Renaissance era made up thing.
Oh, someone says, please do David Lynch voice. Hello, Coop.
Hello, Coop.
Good.
Way to go. It's a miracle. Shelly, I can hear you. It's a miracle. Come sit down and have 3 pieces of pie.
Good. Very good. He
Gordon? What, Coop? Go ahead.
The guy who inherited a house, he's spurred on to learn magic from the vibes from his dead dad's grave. So
Oh, that's right. So the guy, he's like, he
Yeah.
just looks like a jock. Or he's like just a jock dude, a party guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up one day walking around with his girlfriend at his dad's grave, and the vibes of his dad's grave like start possessing him.
yeah,
And he wants to start reading the magic books that he inherits this house, right? So he's inherited this huge estate, and it's got all this magic library, occult library.
so he starts learning ritual magic. He gets the robes, he gets the chalice, he gets the
Athame, the dagger,
knife
right?
and the wand and all that crazy stuff. And he summons up some ghoulies.
Yes, he
Which
decides that he wants some elemental spirits to work for him. And
Yeah.
I didn't remember this, but I thought the ghoulies were his familiars, but they're not. The ghoulies are the elementals.
Yeah.
And then he invokes 2 midgets, who are his familiars.
Yeah. He starts to turn super creepy.
One of whom is called Greedy Gut. Remember that? Because
Yes,
she's like,
greedy gut's coming. He starts to lose it. He turns creepy. He tries to use his girlfriend
he gets possessed
for birds and bees magic. Remember? Mm-hmm. They're
so what starts with this nonsense, right? This illuminate stuff turns into rear end magic.
Mm-hmm. And he tries to use his girlfriend in bed too without her knowledge. Remember that?
Kind
She's
of.
like, he starts chanting when they're making out.
Oh, that's right.
And she's like, what are you doing?
So like, inadvertently sneaking you into a sex magic ritual by.
Yeah.
Oops, you didn't even know.
His eyes turn into glow sticks that you find at raves.
Yeah, he has green eyes
His
because he's
glowy eyes.
possessed. That's
Yeah.
right. I remember that now.
He tries to get his friends to do a ritual because you need a group. And he raises his dad from the dead. Remember that? So now his dad...
Then the dad wants to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets his friends all in a group. And this is like the scene, your classic horror movie slasher scene.
What's weird about this is that just like with his girlfriend, he gets his friends to be part of a ritual and they don't even know it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's sneaking people into rituals and they don't know.
Yeah. Well, the first one he does with them and they don't believe him. And then after he turns evil, he gets them back over for dinner and uses them unknowingly.
Right. Because he's seeking power. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Dad comes back to life. He wants his property back and his Magus throne.
Right.
Right? Because the boy is super powerful now. Like, he can summon rain indoors and he can summon his familiars, the two little imps. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was Willow.
Willow! Willow!
But it's not Willow. It's
Greedy Gut.
Greedy Gut and a person that looks like Willow.
Yeah.
A small person who looks like Willow.
Yeah, so Dad comes back, tries to suck his life out like you do. And Jack Nance comes in and saves the day.
Pete shows up and has a magic battle with the undead father. And then everybody flees. The Willow gets left there. And then, what do you know? Every horror movie ending, the getaway car has ghoulies in it.
Yeah. There's always more ghoulies.
So,
I liked the end because Jack Nance had more 80s Blue Lightning than the bad guy.
Than the freaking
Yeah.
Emperor in Star Wars. Right. I mean, yeah, it's off the charts.
Yeah. So, the ghoulies live on. That's a really good one.
Ghoulies was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it this next time through. It was pretty full of esoteric stuff, being such a bad movie, but actually quite a few bad movies are full of esoteric things, aren't they? This is what we learn.
Yeah.
Even the bad movies.
Yeah.
What's next? The Stuff and Scanners. Don't read them. Don't read those.
No?
Don't read them.
Let's
You get
do
distracted.
the
So Parents
stuff.
or The Stuff?
The Stuff.
Okay. The Stuff is great
This is
fun.
the best B movie with a
It's
message.
one of the best. The message of The Stuff
yeah.
is very good.
Yeah.
If you want of all of these, the message is the best in The Stuff.
I like The Stuff because it's super self-aware. And it starts out at this petroleum plant where it starts bubbling up out of the ground and the old man just starts eating it right out of the ground.
The geezer just starts eating it.
Yeah. Like whatever's
The
bubbling
first time
out.
I saw this, it cracked me up because it's like, what? Geezer's just eating random goo out of the ground?
Yeah. So he's eating the white goo.
And he's like, this is great!
Yeah.
And he just keeps stuffing he's
Yeah.
gumming it. He's gumming it.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's like crude oil or something. It's white goo. It's the white goo. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
Instead of the black goo.
Right. It's an amorphous, unknown thing that's almost like a living, sentient being. And this is a great commentary on the crap. It's multiple things. The crap diet, the big pharma, the industrialization,
Oil
control
industry.
of everything, the big industries, consumerism.
Yeah, I put here basically the stuff is just a metaphor for consumerism.
Mainly, yes,
Yeah.
but it's keep
But
going.
it's also esoteric.
It is.
Okay, so then cut to the little boy, another little pubescent protagonist.
Really
Kid.
annoying kid.
Yeah. And his parents are trying to make him eat the stuff, the goo. And he's like, no, I saw it moving in the refrigerator.
moving.
Yeah.
I saw it moving.
So he sees that.
Ironically, the kid is right throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. So the kid goes berserk, tries to destroy all the stuff at the supermarket. They think he's crazy, right?
Yeah, he goes on a rampage. But before that, did you get the part where the corporations are meeting?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Well, this is what your part is. I can't remember.
Consuming. I'm consuming.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah. This stuff has
The consumer.
spokespeople, celebrities like Pepsi. The stuff was very much marketed or like based on Coke or Pepsi, McDonald's, all of that
Yes.
stuff. Right?
It is. They even reference Coca-Cola at times. Mm-hmm. By the way, if you want to ask us we are experts when it comes to bad movies. If you have any bad movie questions, if you would, please support us with those super chats so that I can put these things into my Swiss bank account that the Illuminate Confirm set me up with my Swiss bank account. If you want to ask us any super chats, they will go directly to a great cause into my Illuminate Confirm Swiss bank account.
Someone says Jarlet's Gohanson film Under the Skin Black Goo. Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
has the black goo. We've been noticing a lot of black goo in the movies. I know. I'm not sure. I mean, Twin Peaks is the black goo.
Yeah.
It's where the portal is. It's the scorched engine oil where Bob is at the portal. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you do.
By the way, remember in Hansel and Gretel, the witch, she can actually move through the black goo. It's a portal for her too.
Right.
Anyway, go ahead. Okay, so it's better than ice cream. Yeah, they have all these ads. So it's also like sugar. Remember, we've been bitching about sugar here, about how people are addicted to sugar. Yes, X-Files says black goo. Thank you. I was driving and I see all the billboards of sugar everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing that they wanted to get people addicted to. And by the way, even Terrence McKenna, he saw that sugar was a thing that everybody would be addicted to, a drug.
Yeah.
So this is not just likening junk food, but also anything in consumerism is
It
the
could be-
stuff.
yeah,
it's
Additives.
materialism. It's the chemicals. It's
Yeah.
big pharma.
Yeah.
It's all of this in
Yeah.
this movie.
Yeah.
Now the kid can see it. That's what's crazy. It's like, why is everybody obsessed with this crap? And the dad, who is the boomer who works at the the office man, he's the preeminent mind control guy. Total jerk. He's addicted to the stuff, as is the rest of the kid's family. Interesting.
Right. So the dad's trying to push the stuff on him because all of society is hooked on this.
Son, yeah, he's like a total asshole.
Yeah.
Son, you better, eat your stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They're more interested in the kid eating the stuff than anything else going on in his life.
Mm-hmm. So you said in.
Oh, then there's this meeting on a yacht. So all these elite meet on a yacht, and they are from all these other food companies, and they're being put out of business by the stuff. So they hire, what's his name? Mo what? Mo Rutherford.
Yeah.
Because every time you give me something, I just ask for Mo.
He's a
symbol of greed.
Yes.
Of monopoly capitalism, of excess, of consumerism.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because that's what he signifies.
He always wants Mo.
He always wants Mo. And then they say, we want to engage in corporate espionage. This actually comes up in the script. We want you to go and meet with the people that are putting out the stuff because we want to know what it is and how they're doing it. And they liken it
Because
to...
this stuff is putting all of the other Dairy Queen out of business.
This is the CEOs of these other corporations. They're like... if we can get them by the law, we can figure out what their secret recipe is. And then we find out that, the law actually protects them. The FDA protects them, like Coca-Cola, they say, because nobody knows Coca-Cola's secret recipe, right? Supposedly, this nonsense. Mm-hmm. So this is just an expose, basically. A B movie that totally exposes all this GMO garbage stuff.
So the Mo character goes to the FDA guy's house, right?
Oh, this is interesting. Yes.
And the FDA guy is talking about how things aren't so strict. Like, he's like, it's not a prescription drug, it's just a dessert. We don't have to know what's in it. Like, he's basically saying how
It is a
lax-
prescription drug. That's the irony, though.
Yeah.
That the stuff has that level of chemical dependency.
But he's basically, like, admitting how lax they are about ingredients and things, like, that are
Yeah, he says the
harmful.
FDA is a
Yeah.
joke, and it
Yeah.
doesn't, like, these corporations are so big that it doesn't matter, which is all true. Doesn't
And then
matter
his
with
dog eats him.
his dog barfs up the stuff on his face and eats him. And what's most interesting in that scene, guess what book he has on his table? Why, none other than one of the key globalism books. Yes, in the stuff. One of the top global elite books is present in this guy's book stack. Alvin Toffler's Third Wave. It's placed prominently right next to his giant Great Dane or whatever he's got. What kind of dog is that?
I think it's Great Dane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Great Dane is sitting there right next to Alvin Toffler's Third Wave book.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So then they show that the stuff even has restaurants like Dairy Queen or McDonald's, and they show
Yeah,
the stuff.
they have franchises. They start setting up stuff franchises everywhere.
They show it next to. They always show it next to big labels like McDonald's or Pepsi, Coke. Almost every scene in the stuff has as many corporate logos as they can put into a scene. Did you notice that?
Right, because it's a critique of product placement.
Yeah.
It's a satire of product placement.
So the stuff.
GMO watermelons.
Body snatches. So this is also a body snatcher.
It is a
movie.
version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Because it takes you over and it mutates you and you become a Borg. Remember?
the stuff it makes you loyal to it and makes you try to kill anybody that goes against it.
How dare you kill? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great point too. So it's not just a Borg hive mind thing. It actually, you become like you're ready to kill people over this stuff. That's great. And I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
It produces fanaticism.
It
is what I'm trying to
has
say.
youth campaign commercials like Pepsi, like you know how Pepsi sponsors Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes. And what was remember the new wave, the Pepsi generation?
Yeah, Pepsi
back in
generation.
the 80s and
Yeah.
90s, where you're supposed to be part of some generational movement where they were rolling out all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stuff has that. Stuff has model spokespeople on the runway. Remember that?
Yes, they get into causes, right?
yeah.
It's a call. There's like these environmental, ethical causes related to the stuff.
So this kid who's being forced to his parents
Oh,
are
and
trying
they
to
use
force him to
remember
eat
they
it.
use pop stars.
Yeah.
The pop stars start promoting the stuff.
Yeah. The dad does such a good job in this. I think he's like the creepiest body snatcher dad. It's really funny.
Yeah,
to
because
watch.
he represents the total system establishment, man.
Yeah, and he's like the stuff kills the bad things inside us.
Oh yes.
Remember?
Wow, that's right.
And then soon,
It's like a sacrament. It's a sacrament. The stuff is the replacement sacrament. It kills the bad stuff inside of us. Wow.
stuff is like a new Eucharist or something.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
As the movie
It becomes a cult.
Yeah. As the movie progresses, you'll notice that in the first scene they had the stuff in the refrigerator when it was like oozing. Mm-hmm. And there was other foods in there, but then the next time he goes in the refrigerator, it's all stuff. The whole refrigerator.
Right.
So-
So now you don't need anything classic, normal, natural. Don't eat meat anymore. You don't need meat. You don't need classic foods. They're actual nutrient dense foods. You just need Beyond Burger.
Or it could
Beyond
be,
Burger.
It could also be saying that the stuff is in everything, like high fructose corn syrup.
The stuff is put into everything because it's genetically modified, mystical
Yeah.
chemistry garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. They go to the petroleum stuff site in Midland, Georgia. I don't know why. Georgia.
Yeah, so it's
Like-
connected to. It's like a big because doesn't the plastic, right? Plastic comes
Yeah.
from petroleum, the
Yeah.
petroleum industry.
Yeah.
So then they're putting it into the food,
Yeah. The stuff is very much like the Blob.
right? It does operate like the Blob,
Yeah.
which is a kind of body snatcher movie too.
But instead of freezing it like the blob, you have to burn it. So.
Is that what they burn it? The stuff?
Yeah. Oh, there's also a funny spoof. Remember that lady that where's the beef?
Oh, they do a spoof of Where's the Beef.
And she says, where's the
stuff?
stuff? Yeah, so it's also a meme. The stuff is a meme. Enough is never enough of the stuff.
Enough is never enough of the stuff.
Is
yeah,
their
that's
tagline?
the jingle.
Yeah. Someone says the stuff is probably human DNA. Maybe.
Well, when we get to the next film, yes, that is implied there. That's also implied in. Well, I did a whole video on the Katy Perry genomics, all that stuff. You can go find my old video on cannibalism. Yes.
One of my favorite scenes among many in this stuff is when it attacks his face, the Mo guy, and his girlfriend is trying to figure out how to get it off his face, and she pours oil on it and lights it on fire. Lights his head on fire. And like, that's gonna be a good idea. Just light your head on fire. The stuff logo.
Look.
What?
You need more
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Good one.
You need more stuff.
Yeah.
Eliminate, confirm. You need more stuff.
The stuff logo is like Target. The Target logo. Did you notice that?
No, I forgot that.
Mo has the best punch. Like every time a bad guy comes, he just like punches them and they fall flat. Like you have to watch the movie to see what I'm talking about.
You mean they're like mannequins? What do you mean?
No, if he gets attacked, it's like a one punch and they're down. It's super cheesy.
Mo.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot that.
Yeah. So watch out for his punches. There's a part in here where they are escaping the stuff plant and they're like, pull over in this town. He's like, no, it's too small. They probably control this small town. I need to get to a city where there's other cops that aren't corrupted, right? So, but what is, like, do you think that's true?
Yeah.
That a city is safer than a small town?
Oh, I don't know about that. It just depends. But they find the general who thinks he's fighting commies. That part's funny. Remember?
Yeah, they find the paranoid
There's a general
colonel.
who thinks that the
It's
paranoid
colonel.
paranoid colonel thinks the commies are taking over, and he doesn't realize that it's not commies that are taking over; it's the corporation.
Well, he's worried about the communists putting fluoride in the water.
Yeah, it's not. It's the corporations putting the chemicals in everything.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the commies putting. He acts like Alex Jones. He's like, let's get to the radio station and
He's
get the word
Colonel
out.
Alex Jones, and he has like this military. He has a radio station. If you watch this movie, look for the scene where they go in to the colonel's radio station, and the guy that he talks to is like the worst actor I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Literally.
That guy's bad.
Yeah. You have to. His lines are hilarious.
Also, Garrett Morris is in this. The black dude from Saturday Night Live back in the Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray days. If you remember, this is a role with Garrett Morris. Interesting.
Another way you can defeat the stuff is electrocute it with 80s blue lightning, which they do. They go to the colonel's radio station and they get the word out, and it actually worked. So this
Only in the movies does
Yeah.
getting the word out actually work.
Yeah, so they just make a broadcast that the stuff is bad for you, and everyone like gives it up and blows up the stuff restaurants. And
What does that say for our situation where in the movies, you know how anytime there's a conspiracy, they want to get the word out, that all
Yeah.
they have to do is go to a journalist. The
Oh, yeah.
journalist report the story because they're altruistic. We don't even have that in our world.
If I can get this evidence
Right.
to the New York Times,
Yeah,
this will
right. Yeah.
save the world. Yeah.
As if Operation Mockingbird, right, never existed.
So they do. They get the word out, and the world changes, except for the cabal, the restaurant people cabal, or the food people, comes out in the end that they were all working together, and they have come out with a new product called the Taste, which only has
They rebrand it. All they have to do is rebrand it.
enough of the stuff in it to make you addicted, but to not kill you. So they found the perfect ratio of poison to get you hooked on it, but also not kill you so you can keep buying it, right?
So yeah, they just
And-
lowered the dosage and rebranded it.
And the quote at the end of the movie is, "Are you eating it or is it eating you?" Mm-hmm. So, oh yeah, in the last scene, uncut stuff is still being sold on the black market. Remember?
It's like Coke.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that one, again, that's probably, I would say Scanners is fairly revelatory, though. Not as clear and obvious of a good message. Scanners is really weird, as with every David Cronenberg movie. Videodrome, of course, being the most obvious there. So let's talk, and we will, I know, eventually need to do Videodrome. I'm very behind on that. It's been requested for, I don't know, a decade? We've done a decade of Jay's analysis, so it has probably been requested. But if you're looking for a fun B movie that actually has a good message, the stuff, you need Mo Stuff.
Scanners. Do Scanners.
Parents and the Scanners.
Parents and Scanners. Okay.
Now, you can lead on Parents because I was busy instructing people when Parents was playing. I saw some. I've seen this movie in the past. I've seen some of it. But remind us about, this is a satire. Randy Quaid.
Parents, it's not like super esoteric, really. It's kind of a psychological thriller, like you're wondering if you're...
It's a satire.
Yeah, if you're just watching a little boy's imagination or if this is actually happening.
Good point. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So, basically, this little boy, this little, like, mousy, picky eater, he's, like, the least annoying of all the kids in all these movies that we've talked about. He is having nightmares about his parents, and everything they do creeps him out. Everything they eat, he thinks is really gross. And he says weird stuff about killing cats in school that he said he learned from his dad. And
Yeah, he's a traumatized kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't he draw weird pictures?
Yeah, he's
too?
a traumatized kid.
Right.
So he has strange solutions to things that involve killing. Like, where did he learn that, you know? So all throughout the movie, you're wondering if this boy has mental problems or if something's actually going on.
Now, for those watching, I'm going to put it in the chat, this link. This is my analysis of what I just mentioned. It's not just about that stupid Katy Perry cannibalism video. I also go into some of the news stories that relate to what we're talking about with the possibility of human things being put into things. Chaco chicken, X-Files, Chaco chicken. Go ahead.
Someone said The Brood is really cool. I have to write that
Yes,
down.
that is one of the early Cronenberg
What's that?
films. It's just one of these goofy B movies.
Okay. Let's see what else. So the part of the cannibalism in this movie is linked to sensuality, which I thought was really weird and gross.
Yeah, it's almost like the kid doesn't understand what's happening to him in terms of puberty.
Because at one point he walks
Maybe.
in on his parents making out.
Yeah, and he thinks that it's like cannibalism.
And you're wondering, yeah, because her lipstick is smeared and stuff. So you're like, is he
Oh,
making
so
this
through the
up?
movie, you're wondering
Yeah.
if the kid is making it up in his head.
Yeah.
Or if, because he doesn't understand human sexuality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Or are his parents really cannibals?
Right.
Yeah.
So then he goes on, he draws disturbing things in his schoolwork, like traumatized children do. You find out his dad is a chemist working at a place called Toxico, where
They do biowarfare.
weather warfare and chemtrails,
They do.
amongst other things.
They do geoengineering and biowarfare, and he brags about being able to spray a village from the sky, ruin the crops, and then wash away the inhabitants. Which is really done during Vietnam, according to Annie Jacobson.
I like how they portrayed adults through the eyes of kids. How they can be really intimidating at times or goofy, or you can't understand what they're doing when they're having a little card party and they get tipsy and he's talking and the kid's like, grown-ups act different when they're alone, you know? But then you learn the parents actually are one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater.
This is a theme we see in a lot of 80s movies where the children are more right about the world than the boomers and the parents, right?
Exactly.
Because now that can be exaggerated and wrong in many cases, but there's some truth to that because, yes, children make things up, but a lot of times people don't believe children because they're children, and they might be actually telling the truth. Maybe children do have a closer proximity to the spiritual world. Maybe they really do sense things. Maybe they have, I mean, they could be, misunderstanding things. They don't understand the complexity of the world, but maybe they also do at times see things in a way that's not polluted.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much, I mean, I don't want to spoil the ending, but Parents is a good little B movie that's visually interesting. When you say with the Gucci architecture?
Yeah, it's a fun
50s.
satire. It's
Yeah.
worth watching. It is a commentary on similar things that we see in consumerism as well, society and its lies. It's amorphous in terms of its time period. It's not actually the 50s, is it?
It looks like it.
Is it supposed to be, or we don't know?
We don't know.
Okay.
The look of it is Gucci, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I can't tell the end. You don't want to spoil it, but Beck, is cannibalism something? Yes, we did the whole stream, you and I, on the Kurt Barker book where he predicted, 6 years ago, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now. So, a lot of people think, oh, that book's too out there, it's too crazy. Well, he was right about pretty much everything in that book. In fact, he even talked about nationwide shutdowns and quarantines. So maybe he knew what he was talking about, along with all the other stuff he predicted. So, what's next? My favorite this time around. I actually enjoyed it. I had fun with this. I tried like 3 times to watch Scanners, and I always turn David Cronenberg on at 1 a.m, so I fall asleep. But this time I made it. And there's a lot in this movie. So Michael Ironside is your villain. We have the idea. There's this giant military-industrial complex security defense firm called CONSEC, and they are studying not just frequencies, ELF, VLF stuff, but they're studying mind frequencies and the frequencies that the energy that the mind puts out when the mind is going through its noetic energies, right? So the company's studying this. This immediately brought to mind esoteric ghost stuff. SRI, Stanford Research Institute, right prior to this in the 70s, actually was studying spies. Okay, Mark Hackard has a great article, by the way, at Espionage History Archive, my good buddy Mark. Go read his article on the Soviet programs studying spies. So the West, the Americans, and the Soviets were both studying spies. Did you see Crystal Skulls? That's exactly what's in Crystal Skulls. Now, Crystal Skulls is terrible. But the Cate Blanchett character, what's she obsessed with? The mental powers.
Telepathy.
Right?
Psychic stuff.
She's the Russian,
Knowledge.
she's the Soviet chick seeking mind powers with the Crystal Skulls.
I want to know.
There really were Soviet and Western SRI Stargate, basically, type stuff. Now, it's debated as to how real or baloney a lot of that was. But supposedly, if you read the ones that's declassified on remote viewing, supposedly the remote viewing is the one that they had the most success with. Anyway, that's what's in this. There's also kind of if you've read the Mind War, Psi War from Aquino, that famous paper. I've talked about this PsyOps paper for years. I've cited it in my book. Everybody should read Mind War, from Psi War to Mind War. It's the famous paper. It's an actual military army PsyOps paper. It should be read. But we find out some of these people it's kind of the stupid X-Men thing of, some people have this power. Okay. So some people have this sixth sense. They can be like Pusher. If you've seen the X-File episode, Pusher, he comes back twice in X-Files. They mentioned the spy dolphin program. John C. Lilly's given LSD to dolphins, craziness. That's all mentioned in this. So Cronenberg apparently had some knowledge of what was really going on here. I mean, the more that I watch, I'm not the biggest David Cronenberg fan. There's a lot of weird stuff in his movies. But you watch Videodrome and you watch this, I mean, there's obviously, he knows something, right? So he must have known about some of this spy stuff. Be interested to see who wrote the screenplay. Off the top of my head, I don't know who wrote the screenplay. But So then we're introduced to the Patrick McGowan character from The Prisoner, and Patrick McGowan plays he kind of seems like a Terrence McKenna type character. He's like a sci-spy psychonaut, basically. Patrick McGowan playing the psychonaut character. He calls himself a psychopharmacist. So he's trying to study the limits of the human mind, and they've got this guy who's their I forget his name, but the main protagonist character who is a scanner. And they want him to go and infiltrate the other scanners because the Michael Ironside character at a Defense Department meeting, he blows up somebody's head. All right. So this other guy that they've got as their scanner, they want him to go and take down and infiltrate this rival group. Well, guess what? The rival group is not really a rival group, because it turns out Michael Ironside is not part of a rival group. He's actually working with CONSEC. So there's an inner party at CONSEC who is trying to weaponize scanners, basically. And guess what? That's not all they're doing. They're actually creating them by intentionally experimenting on infants.
Yeah.
Experimenting on babies. This is what I've been talking about with Salk's book. Salk talks about this. Arthur Kessler talks about this. They really talk about this.
This is Michael Aquino stuff, right?
So Michael Ironside character, the bad guy, he, because of his scanner problems, he went crazy and drilled a hole into his third eye. And then when they have these old videos of him, he's got an all-seeing eye over his third eye, right? So this relates to people who have sixth sense and this kind of stuff, right? It's very reminiscent of Ministeric Goats. Probably the same type of storyline. So basically, John Ronson's Ministeric Goats is probably, David Cronenberg probably just knew about this stuff before Ronson did, is my guess, because this is very, very similar. And in fact, this is more revelatory than Ministeric Goats, actually, if you pay attention to it. So one of the scanners is a schizophrenic who's been studied and tweaked, and he is a serial killer who does hell art. Literal hell art. He hears voices, and he does schizophrenic art therapy. So here we're verging into the total MK Ultra area of experiments on mind control patients, and with the Patrick McGowan character, Dr. What's his name? I forget his name. I mean, he's obviously a Terrence McKenna type psychonaut guy, right? Or he's John C. Lilly. The scanners, I'm not sure about. They seem to be able to link all their minds in a hive mind. Just so telepathy, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but they have powers too, where they can make people burn up and their heads pop. They have a short bus.
They can link up like the society people.
Yeah.
Right.
A short bus. Why are they get on the short bus for the shorties? Turns out, as we noted, Michael Ironside, who's the bad guy, he's working on the inside with CONSEC. So there's a fake dialectic of good guy, bad guy. And we learn that they are experimenting on babies in the womb by giving them this chemical, which is developed by the company that one of the guys in the inner circle of the defense company owns. It's called Biocarbon Amalgamate. Right. So that was actually the company that Patrick McGowan started. It becomes its own entity, and they are the ones that are supposedly the rival company, but the rival company run by Revik is in league with CONSEC. So it's not a real rivalry. They're not these big giant firms, big pharma and the big defense company. They're not in competition. So there's a giant chemical weapons factory where there's a big AI. And the AI stores all of the people who are being experimented on, all of the new babies being born all across the country who are being given stabbies in the womb. Mm-hmm. Can you believe that? Well, I can, because I've written and read you from the elite who wrote books about doing it. The father of stabbies said do this. So the CPUs have, this part's dumb, although it seems to intimate DARPA-style brain-computer interface stuff, because the main scanner good guy can link into the computer, remember? Mm-hmm. They get him to link into the big beast computer system. He scans the computer, and then they try to kill him through a virus or something. That part's silly, but basically it's a private deep state military industrial complex, dysgenics, GMO, biometrics thing. Guess what? That's the real, that's who really runs things. So they're experimenting on infants. They're trying to create scanners. They want to create the next level of human evolution and create them into bio warfare, weaponize. We want to weaponize them, basically, right? Why did I write world of norm? Oh, then he's tempted, right? The bad guy's like, "We're the future of evolution. You best join with me." He says, "The normies, the world of normies, will never understand you." Oh, that's right. His name is Dr. Ruth. Patrick McGoon is Dr. Ruth. Every time I think of Dr. Ruth, though, I think of that stupid sex woman.
So,
is that when you put the penis in the vagina? From the 80s.
Scanners is like Nightbreed. The scanners are.
It has the same X-Men notion, correct? Yeah. So it's the NP. So the bad guy's like, it's all the NPCs versus us scanners, right? You got to get rid of all the NPCs. And then they have this stupid psychic vampire war between the two of them, remember? And the head pop thing. And the one guy burns into flames. But he puts his mind into the other guy's mind so he can do soul transference. So that part's stupid. But it's basically Big Pharma creating autism spurg scanners. Isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, wow. Pretty much one of the big deep state plans that we've talked about for so long is in this movie. And I didn't realize. Now I see why everybody was saying, Jay, when are you going to do scanners? When are you going to do scanners? When are you going to do scanners? Well, now I see why. So that one was probably the most revelatory that I've seen in a long time. And of all the B movies, it's probably the most revelatory. Except for maybe The Stuff. And I just like Society. Society is just fun. Mm-hmm. Is that all?
That's all of them. All
right, well, let's do Super Chats. We got 217 nerds for our B movie extravaganza. Let's see our super. Let's go over a little bit. So do this. We are your B movie experts, so we can answer your B movie questions at this time. Tamara, thank you for joining. Tamara Christova, new member. Thank you. We've got a new Tamara. And by the way, I don't know what was happening at the beginning of the chat. I wasn't deleting the member moderator's comments. I don't know why it did that. It just automatically deleted all of her comments. I was trying to restore them, but I don't have her blocked or banned, so I don't know why it did that. Chad Lanier, $4. Thank you. Palmer Elric, $4 and a bird with a cup of coffee. You got it, baby. Palmer Elwick. Every time I try to say your name, bro, I get like, I need to go to speech class in 4th grade. Palmer Elwick. I can't say my alls. You're not practicing social distancing. Oh.
Thanks for supplying.
Oh.
Well, you're allowed to be in a couple.
No social distancing when you lick faces. Thank you for supplying these good B movies. You're welcome, Palmer. The real Cooter Brown. We were just talking about you from Phantasm, bro. You are the older brother in Phantasm, Cooter Brown. What do y'all think the most woke B movie is? So far, is it Scanners or Society?
Of all the B movies?
Most woke.
They Live, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, They Live is kind of on the edge of B movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it probably had a theatrical release. So it may not be a B movie. But if it is a B movie, it is the most woke of B movies.
Yeah.
Number 2 or 3 would be, I guess, Scanners or Stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure there could be more, but now in some of our other shows, we did some other B movies. Believers, that's not that woke.
That's a good one.
It's a good B movie.
Yeah.
But it's not that woke. Kind of is. Green Waves. That's another Cronenberg we need to do. Existence. We've seen, yes, I've seen Existence with Jude Law and what's her face?
Existence? Oh, is that the one with like the skin?
It's a Matrix. It's the Matrix before the Matrix.
Skin controller video game? Ugh.
And there was a Matrix-like scene in Scanners too, because remember how he links into the AI, the big supercomputer? It's not AI, the big super. He calls it. He dials in like a modem into the system, And it's like the Matrix scene. Remember how you get into the Matrix, how you leave? You got to dial in and out. So I wonder if the Matrix people weren't influenced by Mr. Cronenberg, interestingly enough. But we definitely need to catch up on our Cronenberg because, yeah, I know there's Scanner sequels. I just haven't had a chance to watch those yet because I just saw my first. Did Cronenberg do the sequels? I don't know. But yeah, we do need to do Existence. We need to do Jacob's Ladder. And I've got a whole bunch of to-dos. So, any other super chats? Thank you guys. We had a lot of fun tonight. We kept it under 2 hours, so that's good. I hope Tamara's not mad. I don't know what happened. I wonder if there's not maybe no, she's still here, so she's still chatting, so she's not booted. Anyway, all right. Thank you guys. Leave us a comment and a thumb up and a clickety clackety. All the bells and all that stuff. Please share. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers. I hoped we would be here sooner, but algorithm changes have slowed things. So I need you guys to help me with sharing and all that stuff. Tell your friends to please subscribe. We want to get to 50K, have our 50,000 party, try to get Hesher and Spore and Aaron and Melissa and Benny and Tristan and KJ and all of our friends. We'll try to get them all on here for the 50K party, but we got to get to 50K first. So y'all help me, please subscribe. Tamara, thank you, Jay, Jamie, great show. $20. Thank you, Tamara.
You.
That was really sweet of you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. We love all of our nerds. And anything else from you?
No.
Was it fun?
It was really fun. You made me laugh a lot.
The B movies are great. These are fun B movies. I was glad to revisit them. Did you see anything new this recent time as opposed to the 4 years ago when we first did these? What stands out now?
I just forgot how society just kind of lays it all out in a goofy way. Like, it's the B, Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes, exactly.
So
if you want to be Eyes Wide Shut, Society, Starry Eyes is also a kind of B, Eyes Wide Shut as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Scanners was my pick for this time around as my new favorite. So, all right, everybody have a good night and enjoy your lockdown and your social distancing. Stop touching butts.